Redacted tonight. This is the comedy show where Americans in America covering American news are called foreign agents. The mainstream corporate media and the DNC set up Super Tuesday perfectly. They spent the 5 days before the contest trashing Bernie Sanders in every way they could come up with. I don't know about you, but by the end of it, even I was pretty sure Bernie fathered a love child with Fidel Castro and Lyme disease. It was a menage a trois. By Tuesday, much of America thought Bernie was actually just like the coronavirus wearing a Larry David skin suit. So the media trashed Sanders while simultaneously crafting a narrative that he was going to win every state. That way, when he didn't win every state, it looks like he lost huge. But in fact, he's like 60 delegates behind Joe Biden right now. But still, how did Joe Biden do well when he had little money, almost zero ground game, a horrific record, more sexual harassment claims than a male bra salesman, and a lack of control of one of his eyeballs? How did he do well? Well, let me tell you a little bedtime story called How to Manipulate a Primary Election. Let's start with voter suppression, kids. In one of the biggest states with one of the biggest delegate prizes, pre-election day polls were showing that Bernie Sanders, aided by Hispanics, burst into the lead in Texas. So, what do you do if you're the Democratic establishment and the fucking Hispanics are messing with your shit? According to The Guardian, they closed hundreds of polling sites, making it very hard for minorities to vote. Even Salon.com called it voter suppression, plain and simple. Texas closed hundreds of polling sites in black and Latino areas. And statistically speaking, Hispanics are hard workers who have to, show up to fucking work. Meaning they don't have 3 hours to stand in line at a polling place counting how many times the guy behind them burps into the back of their head. And when they finally get to the front of the line, they don't have another 30 minutes to convince the poll worker that a provisional ballot is not the same as a regular ballot. And it wasn't just in Texas. Here's real video from a Los Angeles polling place this past Tuesday.
So you're going to say right here, you're going to tell all these people right now that a provisional ballot is the same as a regular ballot. You are wrong. You are lying, sir.
That guy is absolutely right. A real ballot is counted the day of the election or maybe the day after. A provisional ballot could maybe possibly be counted 3 weeks from now, but more likely will disappear into a puff of smoke. And that's why California poll workers were told to hand out provisional ballots like they were free condoms in a high school. They're like, here, take 1, take 5, use 2 at a time. You never know how many times you might want to feel like what happened in California was not an accident. Many poll workers were instructed to hand people the wrong ballots, and it was designed to suppress the turnout of Bernie Sanders voters. So even though Bernie won California, he would have won it by a lot more if everyone were allowed to vote. This same shit went down in 2016. And it was a clusterfuck with the Sanders campaign filing a lawsuit to try and get the ballot counted. So the California Democratic Party had 4 years to fix the clusterfuck, and they did nothing. Oh, wait, never mind. They actually did do something. Voting in California underwent a major overhaul this year. Voters across Los Angeles County reported long lines as newly designated vote centers, with some residents waiting up to 3 or 4 hours to cast ballots. In the past, LA County voters had many more polling places available. Taking away tons of polling places so everyone's standing in line, that was your overhaul? That was your grand fix? We're going to solve not enough people getting their right to vote by removing polling places? That's like trying to fix a termite infestation by going, let's release hundreds of bed bugs with ticks on their backs. That should do it. So to sum up, on Super Tuesday, Bernie Sanders' campaign was up against corporate media propaganda. The DNC establishment aligned against him, including Buttigieg, Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Michael Bloomberg. I think even McDonald's Playland endorsed Joe Biden. Corporate money flooding in to stop him. Huge voter suppression, especially against minorities, independents, and young people. And I didn't even get into the black box voting machines that magically always go the way of the Warhawk Wall Street plaything. If you like puppets, those are the machines for you. Sanders' movement was and still is against all of that, going up against all of that, and yet he's only behind by 60 delegates? Are you kidding me? This guy is like fucking Rudy or the Karate Kid or the Mighty Ducks or the Mighty Ducks with Rudy on their shoulders. Time for a fucking reboot. But that's not what our dumpster fire corporate hack-filled media will tell you. They will tell you Joe Biden is the comeback kid. After a mere 30 years running for president 3 times, he's finally ahead in the primary. Coronavirus keeps ramping up its quest to decrease the number of humans on the planet. I mean, think about it. If you were a virus, wouldn't you want to get rid of the people always dumping Purell all over your family? I mean, I'm not sure it kills them, but it's got to be gross and sticky for them. Anyway, when this virus first started, we probably should have dealt with it by saying, hey, China, how can we help? How can we make sure this runs smoothly so that fewer people get sick and die, both in your country and in our country? Instead, we dealt with it like this. That's actually the Secretary of Health and Human Services. So now coronavirus is spreading in America, and we're trying to stop it with our shithouse healthcare system. It's like trying to fight a lion with a crazy straw. In fact, a Miami man received a $3,200 medical bill for testing after fearing he had the coronavirus. Over $3,000 because he was trying to help avoid a pandemic. Great, now we'll have half of America putting their coronavirus test on layaway while they work a few more shifts. Meanwhile, at their second job, they're spreading it to every Uber passenger they pick up. Yeah, don't worry, America. 6 more months overtime at your third job at Arby's, and then you'll have enough money to find out you have coronavirus. Man, that'll be like Christmas in July. Or here's an idea. Just spitballing. Here's an idea. How about the government cover the costs of the tests? You know, the same way they cover the cost of every goddamn bomb we drop. They don't wait around to see if we can afford. They don't wait around for every fucking burger cook or dog walker to save up enough to bomb civilians in Afghanistan. No, they just do it. And no one asks, how are you going to pay for that? When it comes to killing, right? That question only comes up when we want to help people. The outlet in these times went back through the first 10 Democratic debates and found there have been 21 debate questions about paying for social programs, 0 about paying for war. And this isn't just in presidential debates, right? This is an everyday conversation. If you say we should give people health care, give people housing, make sure everyone is fed and everyone learns how to read and everyone knows how to properly pack a bowl or roll a joint or make sure everyone is really good at sex instead of the sexual chaos we have right now. I mean, honestly, how many of us find ourselves saying, who told you moving in that direction was a good idea? Point is, if you want to do anything positive, then everyone says, how are you going to pay for that? You're probably going to raise my taxes, aren't you? But if you say you want to explode some people, want to cause a violent coup overseas, the money's always there. No problem. I know a guy. I've got an idea. Send the fucking military in to do all the good things. Then we'd have the money, right? Let's deploy bloodthirsty jarheads in the inner cities to teach kids to read and write. Then no one would ask how you pay for it. Use Blackwater troops armed with Lockheed Martin weapons to run a free daycare for poor families. Then it'll be funded out the ass. Free elder care staffed by SEAL Team 6. You know, those Navy SEALs think they're tough. Let's see how long they can handle changing Grandpa's diapers while he yells racially incorrect insults at them. Bet they wouldn't last a day. Companies are scrambling to make lofty climate promises. jet fuel guzzling Delta Airlines and fossil fuel pumping BP are vowing to go carbon neutral. Microsoft and IKEA have pledged to go further and actively reduce the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The financial giant BlackRock promises to put climate at the heart of all of its decisions. I'm not saying don't celebrate these corporations if they stick to those goals, but at some point we may have to address our economic system that puts us in a death spiral to begin with. IKEA can proudly say they're going to cut carbon emissions, but it doesn't count if you're still selling entire living room sets that will be thrown out in 2 years because they were made out of cardboard, Scotch tape, and hope. You aren't really fixing the planet, are you? They created a model of furniture ownership that we wipe away every 2 years like an Etch-a-Sketch. That's not sustainable. Until she died 3 years ago, my grandmother had the same living room set since Prohibition. Nowadays, we're all shocked if someone has the same couch since Friends was on television. IKEA is a success because we live in an economic system that demands constant consumption. That's why every 2 years your iPhone switches over to like a hand-cranked operating system. I've refused to buy a new phone for 3 years, and it just informed me the other day it's taking Wednesdays off. Unfettered capitalism values nothing other than short-term greed. Whether we're still alive in 20 years, not important. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. But sure, keep charging people their entire life savings to get tested for a pandemic. See how that works for you.